lose money and break even for the weekend, you know. But the Film Society was very successful. We sold out those first 2 shows, and we were a success from the very beginning 30 years ago. And just at the moment, film societies in the mid-'80s were kind of dying all over the country. They were going out of business. There weren't enough people. Everybody was starting to go watch VHS tapes on their home systems. Austin kind of kicked in gear. And that says everything about the Austin film community that has just kept growing and growing over the years, as the Film Society has. You know, back then we just were showing movies, but we dreamed big. We wanted to help filmmakers. We wanted to, you know, educate kids. We wanted to, you know, eventually we wanted to help the local industry. And, you know, we're doing all those things. We're taking on new initiatives. And and I just want to say, you know, 30 years, it's kind of looking back, but we're not looking back. I'm not nostalgic for that. Right now is the best time ever. These are the good old days, right now. We're showing films at the Marquesa, the Austin Film Culture. There's just too much to do. You know, this is the thing we always dreamed of. It's better than ever. The Film Society, we have our best staff ever, the best programmers. We've got our own theater at the Marquesa. If you're not a member, please join. I mean, most of you here are members, but if you're not, we thank you for your support. We wouldn't be here without you. And I'll get all nostalgic 20 years from now at our 50th. But for now, these are the best times right now. So, and I'm just proud to bring up now my Austin filmmaker brother since the early 90s, Robert Rodriguez.
I remember when I can't believe it's 30 years. It's crazy. As a young filmmaker at UT, you know, it was great to have the Austin Film Society, and Rick, you know, started this thing locally. And my favorite professor at the time, Charles Ramirez-Berg, will just come up. He's here tonight. Introduced me to AFS, and I was excited to see just a group of people that were passionate about cinema here in Austin. And growing up in Texas, I never knew any filmmakers to come out of Texas. So from my point of view, you have to be, you know, sort of a Hollywood insider. That's why I thought I didn't ever want to go to Hollywood, just stay here and make little movies. But in the early 90s, when I went to make El Mariachi, that same summer that I was prepping it, that's when Slacker came out and hit the ending scene, and it was just inspirational to see a local filmmaker doing that with the AFS. And you know, that early 90s was the explosion of independent film and here in Austin filmmaking. And AFS was finally to get the recognition it deserved and create even more programs. It's just, I always felt that it's important to give young filmmakers opportunities in this business and to know that we can make films and that they can make films, and that's what the AFS does. You know, they provide resources and opportunities with their grant programs. They educate people on classic cinema and with their screenings and programs, and they celebrate film with their premieres and events, from high-budget Hollywood movies to low-budget indies. And most importantly, we stand together in order to fight to help keep film production here in the great state of Texas. So I'm very proud to be part of this AFS family. I've been on their board. They always use, you know, host my local premieres, and I pretty much use their Austin studios all the time. They're pretty much the coolest neighbors I could have, since Troublemaker Studio is right next door. So I want to introduce my film teacher, mentor, and all-around cool guy, Mr. Charles Ramirez-Berg.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. So I met Rick 30 years ago. I was teaching a big film history class, about 500 students. He shows up to my office hours with a stack of flyers for a program he's going to have, and wonders if I can pass them out. And I say, sure. What's the program? And it's called Sexuality and Blasphemy in the Avant-Garde. And I say, sure. So I passed them out. I began hanging out at the AFS screenings. I became a friend of Rick's and a friend of the Austin Film Society. So tonight I want to thank Rick for courageously founding the Austin Film Society at a time when theaters were closing, not opening. I want to thank Rick and the Austin Film Society for greatly improving Austin film culture. I want to thank Rick and Robert and the Austin Film Society for helping create the amazing film scene that we're part of tonight. This is a good example of how vibrant the film culture is. Finally, a personal thank you to Rick. I want to thank Rick for inviting me to be part of the Austin Film Society 30 years ago. My involvement with the Austin Film Society really profoundly changed my life. Because of my involvement, I'm able not to just teach film, but to be a small part of it.